What if we told you that the foundation of, well, one of the world's greatest literary traditions wasn't actually written down?
Not initially, anyway.
Right, but it was meticulously preserved, syllable by syllable, as this powerful sacred sound for thousands of years.
Quite incredible when you think about it.
And what if a story wasn't just about, getting home or personal honor, but about the journey of the soul itself?
Across countless lifetimes, yeah.
Ultimately discovering it's like one with the entire cosmos.
A pretty radical idea.
And how does the climax of the world's longest war epic suddenly just freeze
Right at the brink of battle.
and give way to this 700-verse philosophical debate between a terrified prince and, well, God himself?
It's an extraordinary moment in literature.
Welcome to a new episode from our series, The Story of Literature from English Plus Podcast.
Okay, let's try and unpack some of this. Today, we're really shifting gears, aren't we?
Definitely. Moving eastward.
Yeah, shifting our whole literary compass eastward. We're leaving the sort of familiar shores of the Mediterranean.
Greece, Rome.
Exactly, and landing squarely in this vast, deeply spiritual landscape of the Indian subcontinent.
It feels like a different scale entirely.
It is. We're diving into a storytelling tradition that defines literature not just as, entertainment or history.
Although it is those things too.
Oh, absolutely. But fundamentally as a complete system for moral and spiritual instruction. It's doing heavy lifting.
And the ancient storytellers themselves had a phrase for it, didn't they? The Sagara.
That's right, the ocean of the streams of story.
Which just perfectly captures the sheer scale and like the interconnectedness we're diving into.
Yeah, it really does. We're talking about a tradition that starts with these profound, maybe abstract truths.
Big philosophical ideas.
Huge ones. And then immediately applies them to the complex, often messy realities of human life through these massive epic narratives.
So our mission today is to sort of trace that journey for you.
That's the plan. Starting with the original sound of reality, as the sages perceived it.
In the forest, yeah.
Right. Then moving through those stunning philosophical breakthroughs in the Upanishads.
The Abin Brahman stuff.
Exactly. And then seeing how those massive concepts get anchored in the human drama of the two colossal epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana.
Okay, so if you really want to understand the kind of moral and spiritual blueprint for, well, billions of people.
This is really where you have to start.
So first things first, it's crucial to get our heads around the idea that the start of this literature wasn't writing.
No, not ink on scrolls. It was sound. The Vedas, composed in ancient Sanskrit.
These are the absolute bedrock texts, right?
They are, and they hold this extraordinary, almost incomprehensible place in history. We're talking hymns, prayers, ritual instructions.
Philosophical bits too.
Oh yes, philosophical treatises all spanning, over 1,000 years. But the key thing, the unique part, is that they're called Shruti.
Which means?
What is heard. And that's not just a label, it's a fundamental claim about their origin.
Not written by humans.
Not composed or invented by men, no. The belief was that these were divine sounds, eternal truths.
That the sages, the rishis, sort of tuned into.
Exactly. They saw or heard them in deep meditative states. Divine revelation, essentially.
Okay, so it's divine sound, then preserving that sound becomes, well, unbelievably important.
Cosmic necessity, you could say, which explains the legendary, almost superhuman rigor of how they passed it down.
Orally, right, for thousands of years.
For thousands of years, these enormous volumes of verse passed generation to generation purely through memory and recitation, without error.
That level of precision is just mind-boggling.
It's difficult for us to really grasp. It wasn't just memorizing words. Every syllable, every pitch, every rhythm.
Had to be perfect.
Flawless. Because the belief was that the physical sound, the actual vibration of the chant, it had power. It worked.
Like a technology.
Kind of, yeah, a spiritual technology. The vibration wasn't just describing something, it was doing something, it was generative.
Wow. So reciting isn't just performing a ritual then?
It's much more. It's an act of literally sustaining existence.
Sustaining existence? How so?
Well, the ultimate purpose of those early Vedic rituals was maintaining Raita.
Raita. Like cosmic order.
That's the usual translation, but it's more dynamic. Think of Raita as the underlying mechanism of the universe.
The gears turning correctly?
Sort of. The way day follows night, seasons change, the gods stay in their lanes, you know. If the rituals weren't done right.
Right, it could collapse.
Chaos. The universe falls apart. So the precision wasn't just about piety, it was about holding reality together.
Okay, so the gods mentioned in these early hymns, like Indra and Agni, they're tied into this.
Directly. Indra, the big swaggering god of thunder and war, he secures the boundaries, keeps things in line.
And Agni, the fire god.
Absolutely crucial. Agni is the messenger. Fire is the medium, right?
Yeah.
It carries the offerings, the sacrifices from the human world up to the divine.
So the early focus was very much transactional.
Heavily transactional. Appease the gods, keep the cosmic machine running smoothly through meticulous sound, meticulous fire offerings.
Very outward focused.
Exactly. What do I need to do out here to keep the universe on track?
Okay, but then something shifts dramatically.
Oh, is one of the most profound turns in arguably all of world thought. Over centuries, the focus moves.
Away from the external rituals.
Completely, and towards this intense internal quest for knowledge.
So people started questioning the rituals themselves.
They did. A new wave of thinkers emerged who said, okay, these sacrifices might keep the cosmic order ticking over.
Maintaining Rita.
But they don't answer the really deep human questions, do they? Like, what am I really? What is reality? Does anything last beyond death?
The big existential stuff.
The ultimate questions. And crucially, they didn't try to answer these in the established centers, in the cities or temples.
They went somewhere else.
They retreated to the wilderness, to the deep, quiet forest. Literally left civilization behind.
To meditate and debate.
Exactly. The setting itself feels important, doesn't it? That isolation, that introspection.
It's away from the noise.
Away from the demands of ritual and society. And that's where the Upanishads were born. They form the final philosophical layer of the Vedas.
And the name Upanishads means?
To sit down near, which perfectly evokes that image.
Right. The student sitting close to the teacher.
Receiving this wisdom that was considered maybe too secret, too profound for just anyone. You had to be ready for it. It implies a seeker.
And the wisdom they unveiled,
Yeah.
you called it a philosophical bombshell.
I think that's fair. It fundamentally redefines the whole human-divine relationship. These texts lay down the two core concepts for pretty much all subsequent Indian philosophy. We need to get clear on these. Brahman and Atman.
Okay, Brahman first.
Brahman is the big picture, the macrocosm. It's the ultimate, unchanging, infinite reality. But crucially, it's impersonal.
Not like a god on a throne.
No, not a being. It's the absolute fabric of existence itself. The source of everything, energy, matter, consciousness, the world soul, you could call it, the ground of being.
Okay, the ultimate reality. So then Atman.
Atman is the microcosm. It's the individual soul, your innermost self.
The bit inside me.
Right, the eternal consciousness that's separate from your fleeting ego, your body, your thoughts, the indestructible core of you.
But wait a sec. If the earlier stuff was all about appeasing external gods to keep Rita going,
Yeah.
how did they leap from that to seeing the individual soul, Atman, as somehow separate from the big world soul, Brahman? Seems like a jump.
But that's exactly the point of the Upanishadic revolution. They weren't content just maintaining the external cosmic machine anymore. They wanted to understand the mechanic behind it.
Okay.
And the answer they found, the core, truly earth-shattering insight of the Upanishads, is that the separation, it's an illusion.
So that's the big reveal. Atman is Brahman.
Yes, the individual soul is identical to the universal soul.
Wow.
Which, if you think about it, removes the entire need for those external transactional rituals of the earlier Vedas.
Because divinity isn't out there.
Exactly. It's not somewhere else you need to appease with fire and chanting. Divinity is the absolute core essence of your own consciousness.
The drop is the ocean.
And the ocean is the drop. It's radical non-duality.
That is an incredibly radical move. It puts ultimate responsibility and divinity entirely within the self.
Absolutely. And the most famous phrase summing it all up is tat tvam asi.
You are that.
You are that. And think about the implications. If the deepest core of my being is identical to the deepest core of the universe.
Then it's identical to the core of everyone else, too.
Precisely. So how does that change how I treat you, how I act in the world?
It sets up a whole ethical framework.
It establishes the entire foundation for the moral landscape of the epics that follow. Understanding the eternal nature of the soul becomes the key to navigating the temporary suffering of this world.
Okay, so with that philosophical bedrock,
Yeah.
lay this idea that our true self is eternal, connected, divine, even one. We move to the literature that tries to apply this huge truth to the the chaos of human society.
And that brings us to the Mahabharata.
Right. And the first thing we have to talk about here is just the scale.
Oh, absolutely. Calling the Mahabharata a long poem is, well, it's completely inadequate. It's ludicrous.
It's the longest epic poem ever written, period.
It is. It's a work of literary ambition that genuinely has no comparison anywhere in the world.
The numbers are just wild, like 1.8 million words.
Roughly, yeah. Around 100,000 verses. To put that in perspective for you listening.
It's about 10 times the length of the Iliad and the Odyssey put together.
Combined, it's genuinely encyclopedic.
And it's not just a war story, is it?
Not by a long shot. It contains thousands of embedded side stories, myths, fables, romances,
Whole books of philosophy.
entire books of philosophical discourse, including, most famously, the Bhagavad Gita, which we'll get to.
So that's saying about it.
What is found here may be found elsewhere. What is not found here will not be found anywhere.
It really feels true then.
Right.
It's trying to be a complete blueprint for the human condition.
Everything from metaphysics to, practical diplomacy and statecrafts, it's all in there.
And there's that interesting meta twist, too, about the author.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Traditionally attributed to the sage Vyasa.
Who isn't just the writer.
He's also a key character within the narrative, sometimes quite manipulative, actually. He weaves the story, but he's also participating in the events he's recording. It's a fascinating layer.
So what's the central story beneath all those layers?
The core narrative drive is simple on the surface, but devastating in its implications. It's a bitter dynastic struggle.
It's a family feud.
A massive one, between two sets of cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, fighting for the throne of Hastinapura.
Okay, so the Pandavas, they're the good guys, nominally.
There are heroes, yes, the five brothers. They're meant to represent dharma, righteousness, but crucially, they're deeply flawed.
Like Yudhishthira, the eldest, Mr. Righteousness,
but often paralyzed by his devotion to truth, sometimes to a fault. Then you have Bhima, the incredibly strong one, and Arjuna, the master archer.
and opposing them.
The 100 Kaurava cousins, led by the main antagonist, Duryodhana, who's driven by jealousy, ambition, greed.
Right. But you said it's not simple good versus evil.
Far from it. And that's what makes the Mahabharata so powerful, so enduring, and maybe different from, say, the Iliad. It's relentlessly morally complex.
The good guys mess up.
Definitely. They commit morally questionable acts. And conversely, the bad guys, the Kauravas, sometimes show surprising nobility, or they stick to old codes even when it hurts them.
It mirrors real life more, maybe.
Exactly. It reflects what's called lokavrita, the messy, complicated way the world actually works, not black and white.
And the spark that ignites the whole catastrophic war.
Yeah.
It isn't a battle. Or an invasion.
No, it's something much more insidious. A domestic failing, really, triggered by weakness and deceit. It's the infamous dice game.
The dice game. This feels like a major turning point.
It's the critical catalyst. It's the moment where Rata, that cosmic order we talked about, is deliberately, consciously shattered by human action.
And it hinges on Yudhishthira's flaw.
His devastating weakness, yes. Despite his righteousness, he has an addiction to gambling.
Which Duryodhana knows.
And exploits ruthlessly. He invites Yudhishthira to a game, knowing his uncle Shakuni has these enchanted dice that can't lose.
And Yudhishthira accepts. Why?
He feels bound by the ancient Kshatriya, the warrior code.
Yeah.
You never refuse a challenge, especially to a game. So he walks into the trap.
And the losses just pile up.
With terrible, inevitable momentum. He loses his wealth, his kingdom, his brothers into slavery.
Himself.
And then, in a final catastrophic wager, he loses Draupadi, their shared wife.
Oh, God.
And the horror doesn't stop there. It culminates in this act of supreme public violation, disrobing.
Duryodhana orders her stripped in court.
Orders his brother, Dushasana, to drag Queen Draupadi into the assembly hall and strip her naked in front of everyone to humiliate her as a slave.
That's a violation of every code imaginable.
Absolutely. A profound violation of dharma against a woman, against royalty. And the worst part, the court is full of revered elders, Bhishma, Drona.
And they do nothing.
They sit paralyzed, trapped by the complex rules of the assembly, of the political situation, their own vows. They're unwilling or unable to intervene.
So the very systems of honor and law are used to enable this horror.
It's a moment of complete moral breakdown, total paralysis.
But something happens, right? Divine intervention.
It does. Draupadi, abandoned by everyone, prays desperately to Krishna.
Who is there or listening?
Who is always there, in a sense. And the divine intervenes, but interestingly, not by stopping the act itself.
How then?
By neutralizing its physical effect. As Dushasana pulls and pulls at her sari, the cloth just keeps coming. It miraculously becomes infinite.
Hand stripper.
He pulls until he collapses, exhausted. Her modesty is saved by divine grace, but the insult.
The insult stands. The violation happened.
Exactly. That public humiliation, that stain on the family, the kingdom, it guaranteed war. Vengeance was sworn. Conflict was now absolutely inevitable. Okay, so fast forward. 13 years of exile, political maneuvering, gathering allies. Finally, the two sides face each other.
On the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Two colossal armies. The source of an entire civilization, really. Arrayed for what they know will be 18 days of unimaginable slaughter. Apocalypse.
And just as it's about to kick off.
Right at that moment, the horns are about to blow. The entire epic narrative just slams on the brakes. Freezes.
And zooms in.
Zooms right in on one single chariot, carrying the greatest warrior, Arjuna.
And his charioteer.
Who happens to be the god Krishna, in human form. His guide, his friend.
And Arjuna asks to see the enemy.
He asks Krishna to drive the chariot into the middle ground between the armies. He wants to see who he's actually fighting.
And what he sees just breaks him.
Completely. It's a total psychological collapse. He doesn't see faceless enemies. He sees his family.
His great uncle Bhishma, who basically raised them.
His beloved teacher, Drona, who taught him archery. His cousins, friends. The people he respects and loves.
And the weight of killing them.
It crushes him. His hands start shaking so badly he drops his legendary bow, the Gandiva. He just slumps down the chariot, weeping.
Utter despair.
Saying, "How can I do this? Kill my own kin, my gurus, for a kingdom. What good is victory soaked in this much blood? I won't fight."
It's such a relatable crisis, isn't it? Even now. That feeling of the cost is too high.
Absolutely. He's paralyzed by the consequences, the fruits of the action, the sorrow, the guilt, the destruction. He sees the suffering and just wants out. He wants to abandon his duty.
And this is the moment Krishna steps in.
This is where Krishna begins the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Lord. 700 verses. Arguably the single most famous, most influential piece of philosophical writing in the entire Indian tradition.
Okay, so this isn't just Krishna saying, "Man up, Arjuna."
Oh, definitely not. It's not a pep talk. It's a profound, comprehensive spiritual teaching designed specifically to move Arjuna from that state of paralyzing attachment.
To get him to act.
To get him to perform his duty, his rightful action, but from a place of inner freedom. The discourse usually gets broken down into three main interconnected lessons. First, the immediate problem, dharma.
Duty, moral law, his role.
Exactly. Krishna basically says, look, remember who you are. You are a Kshatriya.
A warrior, a ruler.
Your dharma isn't to drop your weapons and run off to the forest. Your duty in this specific terrible situation, after all diplomacy has failed, is to fight injustice, to protect righteousness.
So abandoning his duty because of personal feelings,
Yeah.
that's actually the bigger sin.
That's Krishna's argument. Attachment to personal sorrow is leading him away from his cosmic role.
Okay, but hang on. How can Krishna tell him your duty is to fight, but then also tell him to renounce the results of fighting? Isn't the result of fighting victory or defeat? How do you fight without caring about winning? Seems contradictory.
You've hit the absolute core of it. That tension is the genius of the Gita. It forces the next step, the second truly radical teaching, karma yoga.
The yoga of selfless action.
Right. Krishna explains that we suffer because we're constantly attached to the outcomes of what we do. We crave success, praise, wealth.
And we dread failure, blame, loss.
Exactly. So the teaching is act. Act fully, skillfully, with your whole being. Do your duty.
Don't be attached to the results.
Renounce your attachment to the results. Dedicate the action itself to the divine as an offering. Let go of any personal claim on the fruits of the action.
So that famous line.
You have a right to your actions, but never to its fruits. Your job, Arjuna, is to draw the bow and release the arrow because it's your dharma.
Whether the arrow hits, whether your cousin lives or dies, whether you win or lose the war.
That's not ultimately in your hands, and more importantly, it shouldn't be the motivation for your action. Do duty for duty's sake alone.
That's a path to freedom, isn't it? If your happiness isn't tied to outcomes you can't control.
That's the key. It allows you to live in the world, to act decisively, but remain spiritually detached from the inevitable ups and downs, the suffering and success.
Wow. Okay, so dharma is the what? Karma yoga is the how. What's the third part?
The third part reinforces all of this by going back to the ultimate philosophical foundation, the wisdom from the forests, the immortal Atman.
Ah, right. Addressing Arjuna's grief about killing his relatives.
Exactly. Krishna reminds him, what is the true self? Is it the body?
No, the Upanishads said the true self is eternal. Atman is Brahman.
Precisely. Krishna says the soul, the Atman, is never born and never dies. Weapons don't cut it, fire doesn't burn it, it's eternal, indestructible.
So the bodies on the battlefield
Are just like clothes the soul puts on and takes off, they wear out. Killing the body isn't destroying the eternal essence of his kinsman.
It's just facilitating the soul's transition to the next set of clothes, in a way.
That's the teaching. It might sound harsh, but it's meant to free Arjuna from the illusion that he can truly destroy anyone's essential being.
Okay, so that's the threefold argument. Your duty, dharma, selfless action, karma yoga, and the eternal soul, Atman.
It's a powerful combination, and it works. Arjuna's delusion, his despair, dissolves. He understands.
He picks up his bow.
He picks up Gandiva and says, "My delusion is destroyed. I stand ready. I will do your bidding." And the war begins.
That philosophical clarity doesn't make the war itself any less horrific, does it?
Not at all. The Gita provides the framework for right action in the face of horror, but it doesn't erase the horror. The war is a slaughter on an unimaginable scale.
The Pandavas win, technically.
They win, but the victory is utterly catastrophic, poisoned from the start.
The descriptions of the battlefield afterwards
Are devastating. Kurukshetra is just a wasteland of corpses. They've killed almost everyone they ever knew or respected. Uncles, teachers, cousins, friends.
It's such a sobering message about the real cost of conflict,
Yeah.
even a supposedly righteous war.
Absolutely. Hatred and violence destroy everything, even the victors.
And the epic doesn't end with them ruling happily ever after.
No, not really. Yudhishthira rules for a time, trying to heal the broken kingdom. But eventually, the weight of it all, the memory of the violence, is too much.
So they renounce everything.
He, his brothers, and Draupadi give it all up. Power, wealth, the kingdom they fought so hard for, they renounce all attachments.
They just walk away.
They undertake the Mahabharata, the great journey, walking north towards the Himalayas, towards liberation, leaving the world behind.
It's a stark ending. A final warning about attachment to worldly power and the cycle of violence.
The Mahabharata ultimately teaches detachment, even from the fruits of victory.
Okay, so if the Mahabharata is this huge, sprawling, morally gray epic reflecting the messiness of real life,
Hokavrita.
then the other great epic, the Ramayana or Rama's journey, is different.
Very different in focus and tone. It's often seen as the idealistic counterpart.
How so? What's its goal?
Where the Mahabharata explores ambiguity, the Ramayana is much more focused on demonstrating dharma through ideal archetypes. It's structurally tighter, less sprawling.
It wants to show us how dharma should work. Perfectly.
Exactly. It presents models of perfection for us to emulate.
Like the main characters, Rama.
Rama is the ideal son, the perfect king. Sita is the ideal wife. Hanuman is the ideal devotee. Their actions are meant to illuminate the path of perfect dharma, complete adherence to righteousness.
And Rama himself is more than human.
Yes, that's crucial. He's the prince of Ayodhya, yes. But he's also the seventh avatar of the great god Vishnu, the preserver.
So he came to Earth specifically to restore order.
To restore dharma, exactly. Which makes his every action a divine lesson, a template for how humans should live. The epic itself is attributed to the poet sage Valmiki.
So what kicks off the story here? Is it another conflict?
It starts with a family crisis, but rooted in honor and promises, not dice. The old king, Dasharatha, wants to crown his eldest and most beloved son, Rama,
Sounds good.
but years ago he granted two wishes, two boons, to his younger, somewhat jealous wife, Kaikeyi, and she chooses this moment to cash them in.
Oh dear. What does she ask for?
Two devastating things. One, her own son, Bharata, must be crowned king instead of Rama.
Ouch. And two,
Two, Rama must be immediately exiled to the wilderness, to the forest, for 14 years.
14 years. The king must have been heartbroken.
He's destroyed, but he's bound by his word, his royal dharma. He cannot break his promise.
So how does Rama react? This is the test, right?
This defines him. There's no anger, no arguing, no complaining about injustice. He accepts the exile instantly, calmly, because his primary dharma as a son is to ensure his father's honor is upheld. His father gave his word, so Rama must fulfill it no matter the personal cost. It's immediate, unwavering obedience to duty.
And this inspires others.
Immensely. His wife, Sita, the model of wifely devotion, absolutely insists on going with him into the dangerous forest. She says her place is with her husband wherever he goes.
And his brother Lakshmana.
His fiercely loyal younger brother, Lakshmana, also gives up his royal life without a second thought to serve and protect Rama and Sita during the long exile.
So their willing sacrifice sets the tone. Duty over personal desire.
Completely. It establishes the moral high ground right from the start.
So they're living simply in the forest. Does peace last?
For a while, but then the great antagonist enters the picture. Ravana.
The demon king.
The powerful 10-headed demon king of Lanka. He's learned, cultured even, but incredibly arrogant and driven by desire.
And he wants Sita.
He hears about her unmatched beauty and becomes obsessed. He cooks up this elaborate trick involving a magical golden deer.
To lure Rama and Lakshmana away.
Exactly, leaving Sita unprotected. Ravana then appears, disguised as a wandering holy man, tricks his way close, and kidnaps her.
Carries her off to Lanka.
Flies her across the ocean to his island fortress.
And this kicks off the main quest part of the epic.
The grand quest to rescue Sita. And this is where Rama gains extraordinary allies, the most famous being Hanuman.
The monkey general.
Right, leader of the Vanaras, the monkey army. Hanuman is possibly the most beloved character in the entire Ramayana.
He's incredibly powerful, right?
Immensely. Can change shape, leap oceans, lift mountains. But his defining trait isn't his power, it's his bhakti.
His devotion.
His absolute, pure, unwavering devotion to Rama. He embodies perfect service, perfect loyalty. All his power is used only in service of Rama's cause.
And he's the one who finds Sita.
Yes, in the famous story, he makes that incredible leap across the ocean to Lanka, finds Sita held captive, gives her Rama's ring as a sign of hope,
And then causes some chaos.
burns down half of Ravana's city just to show them what Rama's allies can do before leaping back with the news.
Which allows Rama to plan the invasion.
Exactly. They build that miraculous floating bridge of stones across the sea, the Rama Setu.
And the final battle.
A colossal clash. Rama, aided by Hanuman and the Vanaras, finally confronts and kills the invincible Ravana, freeing Sita and destroying the forces of chaos.
And they return to Ayodhya.
Triumphant return. Rama is finally crowned king, Sita is queen. This ushers in Ram Raja,
A golden age.
the epitome of a perfect kingdom, justice, prosperity, righteousness reigning supreme.
Okay, so that sounds like the perfect happy ending. Dharma triumphs, evil is defeated, golden age begins, roll credits.
It should be, and for many tellings it largely is. But there's a later layer, a darker, more complex chapter that gets added, which raises profound questions.
What happens?
They're back in Ayodhya, Ram Raja is established, but whispers start. Gossip among the public.
About Sita.
About Sita's purity, her honor. She spent a year, remember, held captive in the palace of Ravana, a known lecher. People start murmuring.
Even though Rama knows she's innocent?
He knows she's perfectly pure, he trusts her completely, he's heartbroken by the gossip, but he's not just a husband anymore, he's the king.
Ah, so his royal dharma comes into play.
Exactly. His duty as king, the Raja Dharma, is to uphold the moral integrity of the throne, to ensure his people have absolute faith in their rulers, to quell any unrest or doubt.
And that conflicts with his personal feelings, his duty as a husband.
Irreconcilably. It's the Ramayana's own moment of agonizing moral choice, mirroring Arjuna's crisis in a way, but different. What do you do when one sacred duty clashes head-on with another?
What does Rama choose?
To uphold his royal dharma, he makes the excruciating decision to banish Sita.
He banishes her, even though she's pregnant.
Sends her away to live in the forest near Valmiki's hermitage, to silence the public rumors and protect the integrity of the throne.
Wow, that's incredibly harsh.
Oh.
Tragic.
It's profoundly sorrowful, and it's debated endlessly. Is it a flaw in Rama's perfection, or the ultimate example of selfless sacrifice for the greater good? But it serves a crucial purpose for the listener.
Which is?
It shows that even on the path of ideal righteousness, even for a divine avatar, following Dharma can lead to immense personal suffering and agonizing choices. Duty isn't easy, even for the perfect. Upholding order sometimes requires terrible sacrifice.
Okay, so taking all this in the Vedas, the Upanishads, these two colossal, complex epics, what's the big takeaway? What does this ocean of stories really mean for us?
Well, I think it means that South Asia produced this incredibly comprehensive literary and spiritual tradition. It gives you a whole landscape.
From the most abstract.
Right, from you are the cosmos and the Upanishads, this ultimate non-dual truth.
Down to the nitty-gritty of ruling a kingdom, fighting a war.
Exactly. The ruthless political choices and moral ambiguities in the Mahabharata, and then the idealized but still agonizing sacrifices in the Ramayana.
It covers the whole spectrum.
It tries to provide a blueprint for everything. And crucially, these aren't just, ancient texts gathering dust just on a shelf.
No, they're alive.
They are living blueprints for moral conduct, for spiritual understanding. The principles of the Gita literally guide the daily actions and choices of hundreds of millions of people today. Rama and Sita are still held up as ideals of perfection, of devotion. This is literature that breathes, that actively shapes lives and culture.
And looking at those endings, the Pandavas winning but inheriting a wasteland, Rama banishing Sita, it seems like both paths lead to sorrow.
Both the messy, realistic path of the Mahabharata and the idealized, principled path of the Ramayana demand immense sacrifice. They show that conflict and suffering are perhaps unavoidable.
So the lesson from Krishna in the Gita becomes even more important.
Perhaps it's the key. The only way to navigate this complex, often painful world, whether you're facing moral ambiguity or striving for perfection, is through dharma, doing your duty, doing what's right, but coupled with that crucial element of detachment.
Letting go of the attachment to the results.
Performing your duty is necessary, but tying your personal happiness, your inner peace, to the outcome of that duty. That seems to be the guaranteed path to suffering in these stories.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Which kind of struggle feels more resonant with the challenges in your own life? Is it the agonizing but principled attempt at perfection, like Rama's? Or is it the messy, ethically complicated, sometimes morally gray battles that the Pandavas faced? And this is another episode from our series, The Story of Literature from English Plus Podcast. Remember that what we mentioned is just an introduction for you to step into the huge and beautiful world of world literature, so don't settle for what you have learned in this series. Start hunting for the hidden gems you can find in literatures all around the world, and don't stray far at the beginning. Start from your own culture and literature. I bet there's a lot of magnificent works of literature to be found right in your own backyard. Thanks for listening, stay curious, and never stop learning with English Plus Podcast.